perceive the use of other natural intoxicants such as weed or bhang, which take you to the same level of higher consciousness?
Medical benefits are for those who are sick, isn't it? Look at my eyes and see, they're always stoned. Really. Then the neurologist came up with this and said, the brain is expecting that you will produce cannabis within the system. I don't want a cannabis-smoking lawyer for me. I don't want a cannabis-smoking surgeon to work upon me because I drive at a certain speed. 70% of the American population is on prescription medication. Rest of the world is trying to catch up. Why don't we do some cocaine? Because it really fires us up, you know?
Sadhguru, in one of your uploads on YouTube, you speak of an experience where you've consumed the cobra venom, and you describe this experience as something where one part of yourself felt like you were in a state of slumber, while the other part of you felt like you were in a higher level of brightness. So, how do you perceive the use of other natural intoxicants such as weed or bhang, which take you to the same level of higher consciousness, but the only difference lies in the means which are adopted in reaching that higher level of consciousness? So, why has the consumption of weed in India remained a stigmatized subject? And fortunately for us, we have a senior minister in the Narendra Modi cabinet, Mrs. Maneka Gandhi, who's come out in support of legalization of marijuana. So could you also tell us what your take is on whether or not marijuana should be decriminalized, given that there is enough evidence to suggest that there is medical benefits associated with the consumption of marijuana?
Medical benefits are for those who are sick, isn't it? We talk about medical benefits when people get sick, not when they're healthy, all right? So, I'm glad you've been doing some research about finding that cobra venom thing. We are not consuming cobra venom on a daily basis, we are consuming mercury on a daily basis sometimes. But that is not for intoxication, nor do we need cobra venom for intoxication. Just look at my eyes and see, they're always stoned. Really, don't put your head down, just look at me and see. I'm always stoned. I never touch the substance. But is it true that this human mechanism is the most sophisticated chemical factory on the planet? Hello? So if you know how to manage this well, you can produce what you want in this. Anyway, there was an Israeli scientist, you might have heard about him because you've done so much research on this aspect. He was doing research on cannabis and its impact on the neurological system. So he started this research in the United States. Every year he was getting some 15 kilograms of cannabis. For almost 12–13 years he got this, and he produced no results. And in 1980s, when US drug agencies, you know, the agencies which were working against the drug smuggling and stuff, they decided to not hit the suppliers but hit the market. So the street was burning with police action. At that time, the police and the agencies said, this guy is getting 13 kilograms per year. We have not seen any paper from him, it must stop. So they stopped. Then he moved to Israel and he showed what he has done, and they supplied marijuana for him as much as he wants. In about 4.5 years, he came up with this. He said, there are millions of cannabis receptors in our brain. But why? So he threw this information to all kinds of scientific disciplines to find out why in human brain there are millions of cannabis receptors. Well, naturally the anthropologist said maybe at some time the whole humanity was smoking. but that's not possible because many parts of the world it doesn't exist. But even there, they have. After many things, many funny things happened around the world in this context, then the neurologists came up with this and said, the brain is expecting that you will produce cannabis within the system. It's not expecting you to smoke. It's expecting you produce that so that it becomes a mood equalizer for you all the time. But most human beings have become inefficient chemical factories, or they're just lousy CEOs managing a great factory. So they start smoking from outside. It's not a moral issue. It's not a moral issue for me. But the thing is, there is substantial studies which are being put down by those few activists who want to promote it. There is substantial studies to show that your decision-making, your certain dimensions of your brain, particularly about decision-making, are sufficiently suppressed. If you smoke marijuana for 30 days, this will last for 4 to 5 years. Your decision-making is clearly affected. With that kind of mind, with that kind of a brain, if you enter the court and I'm putting my life in your hands, I don't want a cannabis-smoking lawyer for me. I don't want a cannabis-smoking surgeon to work upon me. If he's just smoking on the street corner, not doing anything to anybody, it's his problem. But definitely I don't want my surgeon to be on marijuana and do surgery on me. Yes or no? Do you want? Nor do I want other drivers, because I drive at a certain speed, I don't want other drivers who are smoked out driving with me. I don't want. Nor do I want my driver ever, if at all if I sit in the back seat, to have smoked and then driving. If you want that, you choose, but we don't want that. Most people don't want that because they know what it'll lead to. So what we are looking at recreation, we have made it this way. What this means is essentially, today, 70% of the American population is on prescription medication, rest of the world is trying to catch up. Yes, rest of the world is trying to catch up. People are starting medicines very early on in their life. The remaining 30%, of course, are going on things that you're talking about. Why just stop with cannabis? Why don't we do some cocaine? Because it really fires us up, you know? It's okay, man. It's all right with me. I told you, it's not a moral issue for me. It's a question of whether it'll enhance your life or suppress your life. Whether it'll allow you to live your life full on, or will it make you a smaller life than the way you are, or what you're capable of. Nothing less than what you can do must happen in this life, isn't it? For whatever reason. Either because of your attitudes, or your stress, or your drug, or for whatever reason, you should not become a human being less than what you could be. You must maximize this life, because all you have in this life is how intense and profound is your experience of life, that's all there is. And half the time if you're dazed out, you will miss that possibility. But if you come to me, I can teach you a way. Simply you can sit here and be stoned out. No. Really. Not just me, I do this to any number of people, thousands of people, they just sit there and boom. Every day in the morning I can show you millions of people who close their eyes, tears of ecstasy dripping, because there is a way. There is a way to activate this system, because there's no more complex chemistry on the planet than this one. Yes or no? Do you agree with me? When everything is here, it's best to learn to use this. If you invest some time early on in your life, very effortlessly you can get here. Instead of that, if you take external inputs, we know all the negative impacts of that.